It started with a tweet, 9 words that sent shockwaves through Washington. Nancy Pelosi is finished. Her career is over. Hashtag drain the swamp. Elon Musk had hit send at exactly 6 a.m. By 6:03, the tweet had racked up over 800,000 likes. By 6:07, Pelosi was trending #1 worldwide. And by 6:10, cable news was already running the cheerin', breaking, Elon Musk calls out Pelosi, political earthquake. No one knew what prompted it. There'd been no apparent trigger. No public spat. No prior warning. Just a missile fired straight into the heart of the Democratic old guard. Inside the Capitol, aides scrambled. Phones rang non-stop. Staffers whispered in corridors. Even Republicans looked stunned. Elon Musk, the tech titan, billionaire futurist, and wildly unpredictable X, formerly Twitter, CEO, had just declared political war on Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. And he wasn't done. That afternoon, Musk followed up with a 30-minute live broadcast from inside a Tesla Cybertruck parked in front of the Capitol reflecting pool. With the Washington Monument in the background and SpaceX logos spinning on digital overlays, Musk doubled down. This is not about politics, he said. It's about power. Corruption. Control. For too long, D.C. has been run by career politicians enriching themselves while pretending to help the people. Pelosi is the symbol of that decay. His eyes narrowed behind tinted lenses. I'm not just calling it out. I'm doing something about it. Cut to black. The internet exploded. But what did he mean? What was he planning? Nancy Pelosi, meanwhile, had been quiet. Too quiet. That silence wouldn't last long. By evening, every major network had convened emergency panels. Political analysts, retired lawmakers, tech journalists, and Musk fanboys all chimed in, but no one had a clue what his next move would be. CNN ran a split screen, Musk's fiery Cybertruck broadcast on the left, and on the right, the heavy wooden doors of Pelosi's Pacific Heights residence, tightly shut. Then, at 9:42 p.m., a single light flickered on behind a third-story window. A minute later, her voice appeared on Threads, the Meta-backed platform Elon had once mocked as Instagram for people who can't handle sarcasm. Elon Musk doesn't scare me. Billionaires who play with rockets and memes have no place dictating the future of our democracy. The post was sharp. But her timing? Off. Musk replied instantly on X, with a screenshot of her Threads post and 3 words, weak. Predictable. Finished. Within seconds, the replies were brutal. At Hard Drive Fan, she tried to clap back, and belly flopped. At Code Red Capital, imagine thinking Threads was the battlefield. At Real Free Energy, Elon is dragging her like it's launch day at Boca Chica. But behind the digital fireworks, something deeper was happening. 2 leaked emails, obtained and published by The Intercept, revealed that Musk's companies had recently been denied federal contracts after lobbying efforts by Pelosi-allied lawmakers. One of the emails even cited concerns over Elon's erratic political influence. It was retaliation. And Musk was retaliating back. But this wasn't just online beef anymore. Behind the scenes, he'd activated something much bigger, a war chest of $800 million, diverted from SpaceX lobbying funds, to create what insiders were now calling, Project Kraken. The target? Pelosi. The goal? Total political annihilation. The official name was Project Kraken, but in Silicon Valley circles, it had already earned a new moniker, the Digital Guillotine. Its launch was more cinematic than political. At precisely 8 a.m. the next morning, an unlisted live stream appeared on X, promoted only by a cryptic Musk post, movie camera, if you thought Twitter files were wild, buckle up. Hashtag Kraken. The video opened with sweeping drone footage of Capitol Hill, spliced with images of Pelosi over the years, clapping at Trump, tearing up speeches, smiling behind closed doors at high-dollar fundraisers. The music was ominous. Then the screen faded to black, replaced by a single line of white text, presented by former insiders. Funded by the future. And then it began, a flood of leaked documents, emails, wire transfers, and footage, some new, some forgotten, some never seen before. Anonymous whistleblowers, masked and voice-altered, came forward on camera. One man, former House IT director, detailed how Pelosi's office used encrypted comms to coordinate with lobbyists during key defense spending votes. Another, an ex-staffer turned tech consultant, walked viewers through a spreadsheet showing suspicious financial ties between Pelosi's husband and green energy shell companies with federal grants. But the most damaging blow came from a young woman named Eva Conrad, former junior policy advisor, who broke her NDA on air. "I was told directly, Musk is a threat. Shut down his influence. Kill his contracts. Period." Those were Nancy's words. Within minutes, the hashtag Pelosi leaks exploded across every platform. Even MSNBC was forced to air the footage. By noon, a federal ethics committee announced an emergency session. By 3 p.m., the Washington Post published a rare editorial, "The Pelosi era may be nearing its end." Inside her inner circle, panic began to set in. Longtime donors were distancing themselves. Staffers were unreachable. Some PACs froze operations entirely. And Musk? He posted a single meme, a crumbling Capitol building overlaid with the words, "Career, deleted." But Pelosi wasn't finished yet. Behind closed doors, she was preparing a response of her own. And it wouldn't be subtle. The corridors of Capitol Hill were buzzing, but this time, with controlled rage. By dawn, Nancy Pelosi had called in every favor she was owed. 30 years in Washington doesn't come without leverage, and she planned to use all of it. Her counteroffensive was swift and surgical. At 10:30 a.m., an unmarked envelope arrived at the headquarters of the Federal Trade Commission. By noon, Musk's satellite division, Starlink, was under formal investigation for potential monopolistic practices in international communications infrastructure. That same day, a memo leaked from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Tesla would be subpoenaed for financial irregularities related to executive stock sales. Coincidence? No one believed that. Then came the drop that nearly flipped the narrative. An anonymously sourced dossier appeared on CNN's evening segment, hosted by Anderson Cooper. The documents were clear. Elon Musk had quietly met with 3 sitting senators, all anti-establishment Republicans, weeks before Project Kraken launched. The implication? Coordination. Maybe even conspiracy. Cooper's tone was grave. If these documents are legitimate, they suggest a campaign not just to criticize Pelosi, but to dismantle the democratic structure from the outside using tech dollars and political mercenaries. Suddenly, the media tide started turning. Outlets that had previously fawned over Musk were calling him a digital oligarch. Articles popped up with titles like, "Is Musk too powerful? SpaceX or statecraft, where do we draw the line? The billionaire coup." Pelosi, dressed in white and flanked by longtime allies, held a press conference the next morning. She didn't mince words. "This is not about one tweet. It's about one man thinking he can buy our democracy. Let me be clear, I'm not going anywhere. Elon Musk will answer for this reckless campaign." The crowd of reporters roared. Some clapped. It was the comeback clip made for primetime. But behind the scenes, something even darker was brewing. Late that night, an encrypted video file was uploaded to a private blockchain server tied to Project Kraken. A Musk advisor posted the link with 3 words, "Next phase begins." The file was titled, Polaris.exe. The file was only 87 megabytes. But within an hour, it had been downloaded over 10 million times. No one knew exactly what Polaris.exe was. Tech forums buzzed with speculation. Some called it a deepfake generator, others claimed it was a blockchain-verified vault of Pelosi's secrets. But the truth was more dangerous than anyone guessed. At 2:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Project Kraken's official site went live with a sleek, black interface and just one prompt: Satellite Polaris, enter access code to declassify. An anonymous hacker group calling itself Aegis 7 released the key publicly an hour later. The site cracked open. And that's when it all hit. Polaris wasn't just a document dump, it was an interactive digital map of capital corruption, tied directly to Pelosi's 3-decade career. Tapping on any name, lobbyist, donor, committee member, would reveal a web of connections, financial flows, suspicious votes, insider trading patterns, and private memos, all linked through blockchain timestamps and whistleblower uploads. Every click was a gut punch. One section revealed a defense contractor who received billions in funding after hosting a private retreat attended by Pelosi's family. Another showed a dozen instances where her investment portfolio mirrored pending legislation, days before it went public. And then came the nuclear core, a video of a private dinner from 2016, secretly recorded. In it, Pelosi laughed with several DNC elites as one said, "We don't need to listen to the people. We just need to manage them." She raised her glass and toasted, to controlled outcomes. That clip alone was enough to flood every media channel. X, YouTube, Rumble, Telegram, even TikTok, #controlled outcomes was instantly the most viral phrase on earth. By 10 a.m., 3 Democratic senators had issued statements condemning the video. By noon, protests had formed outside Pelosi's district office. By 3 p.m., a federal judge called for a preliminary inquiry into abuse of office, based on the Polaris contents. Meanwhile, Musk? He tweeted only this: "You wanted the truth. Now you have it." Satellite, but not everything was going his way. The government's investigations into Tesla and SpaceX were accelerating. Anonymous sources hinted that Pelosi had more cards to play, and one of them was tied to Musk's past. A whisper was growing in D.C., "What's in the Lisbon file?" It was just after 4 a.m. when an unmarked diplomatic courier arrived at the Department of Justice in D.C., escorted by 2 black Suburbans and a single agent from the State Department's Bureau of Intelligence and Research. Inside the envelope, one USB drive. Label: Lisbon file classified. Eyes only. Origin: U.S. Embassy, Lisbon. No one on Musk's team saw it coming. And when the DOJ confirmed receipt through a cryptic public notice, new material under intergovernmental review, panic surged through the upper floors of Tesla HQ in Austin. Behind closed doors, Pelosi's camp was grinning for the first time in days. So, what was in it? Leaks began trickling out that night on a small but credible Portuguese news blog. The Lisbon file contained surveillance footage and internal embassy emails from 2015 and 2016, during the peak of SpaceX's global expansion. In it, Musk is allegedly seen pressuring U.S. diplomats to lean on foreign governments to approve SpaceX satellite networks, by using promises of campaign donations to their U.S. allies, and potential military tech integration. One clip reportedly showed Musk in a Lisbon wine bar with 2 contractors from the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, speaking off the record about weaponizing orbital pathways. "Think of it as deterrence," he said. "Whoever controls low Earth orbit, controls the planet." When the phrase, weaponizing orbital pathways, hit mainstream media, it was like pouring gasoline on a burning skyline. CNN, The Guardian, and 60 Minutes all ran back-to-back specials. Did Elon Musk try to militarize space for political power? By morning, The Atlantic published a cover story titled, "From Innovator to Instigator, The Rise of Elon the Tyrant." Pelosi's approval ratings, which had bottomed out just days before, began to rebound. Fast. And then came the subpoenas. Senate Intelligence, House Oversight, and the FTC all announced joint hearings. Musk was summoned. His legal team tried to stall, but the subpoenas were unanimous and bipartisan, even some Republicans turned on him. But Elon didn't fold. Instead, he teased something even bigger. On a surprise podcast appearance with Joe Rogan that same night, he leaned forward, grinned, and said, "Lisbon? Cute. But they've already lost. There's a reason I haven't used my real weapon yet. Rogan raised an eyebrow. And what's that? Musk sipped his whiskey and replied, "You think this is about Pelosi? This is about the system. And I'm about to break it." He tapped the table twice and muttered, "Release Nemesis." When Elon Musk said, "Release Nemesis," nobody quite knew what he meant. Was it a code name? A program? A bluff? By morning, the world had its answer. At 7:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, a digital shockwave rippled across the internet. Every Tesla screen, cars, tablets, dashboards, lit up for precisely 45 seconds with a crimson-tinted animation, a rotating Earth. Red satellites blinking into position. Then the words, "Nemesis active." Then, nothing. Confusion erupted. Was this a hack? A stunt? A threat? And then the feeds went live. Over the next hour, Project Kraken's media division, now operating under the banner Nemesis, released live access to 27 high-orbit Starlink surveillance relays, reprogrammed to stream encrypted, high-resolution footage directly to a public web interface. These weren't weather satellites. These were military-grade. And they were watching. Nemesis revealed footage from above dozens of untouchable compounds, private islands, restricted government zones, secretive estate properties belonging to politicians, lobbyists, and global elites. Including, a private vineyard in Napa with illegal biolabs funded by shadow PACs. A fortified estate in the Cayman Islands with arms shipments linked to unnamed congressional families. And, most damning, drone footage of Pelosi's private underground vault in Marin County, California. Inside, art, cash, unregistered documents, and a file cabinet labeled, "Do Not Move, America, 21. The internet imploded. Nemesis's interface allowed real-time crowdsourced tagging. Users could click on structures, vehicles, even faces, and identify what they saw. Within hours, millions of volunteers were building a digital case against the world's most powerful people. It was total exposure. Anonymous insiders reported that Pelosi's team went into full bunker mode. FBI agents stormed her estate by evening, claiming they were securing potential evidence to prevent public unrest. Musk posted a single word on X, sunlight. But while the public watched the system burn, behind closed doors, Pelosi made one final move. A private meeting was held at Camp David. Attendees included the vice president, several intelligence officials, and 3 tech CEOs from Musk's rival companies. What came out of that meeting? An operation. Codename, Black Glass. Its mission, to shut Nemesis down permanently, by any means necessary. The name was chosen for a reason. Black glass, a reference to the scorched, melted Earth left after a nuclear test. And now, it was the codename for the most aggressive domestic cyber counteroffensive in U.S. history. At exactly 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 blacked-out jets lifted off from an Air Force base in Nevada, carrying elite cyber warfare units under direct orders from JSOC, Joint Special Operations Command. Their destination, a floating SpaceX-linked server farm anchored in international waters off the Pacific coast. Inside that farm lived Nemesis Core, the central relay system streaming real-time surveillance and intelligence drops to over 300 million global users. Pelosi's people, backed by elements in the NSA, had lobbied hard for one thing: wipe it. Discredit it. End it. And so, Black Glass was activated. But Musk wasn't unprepared. Hours earlier, a strange message had appeared in an obscure developer forum: "If you're reading this, Plan Delta is live. Expect company. Use Mirror 13. Within minutes, Nemesis went dark. And just as quickly, it came back online. Only this time, it was distributed. No longer relying on the ocean-based server farm, the core had fractured into thousands of encrypted nodes, stored on private servers, public networks, and even user devices. Nemesis had become a living, global organism, self-sustaining, resistant to takedown. When the JSOC team breached the server farm, they found nothing but holographic decoys and heat-emitting drones. The real data? Gone. Scattered. Operation Black Glass had failed. But that wasn't the worst part. A new feed appeared, Nemesis Channel 9, showing a private meeting in a luxury suite at the Four Seasons DC, recorded via high-zoom drone days earlier. On screen, Nancy Pelosi, a tech CEO from an anti-Musk lobbying firm, a high-ranking intelligence official, a representative from the European Commission. The conversation was quiet. Calculated. Chilling. One quote stood out, clear as crystal: "If Musk doesn't stop, we'll use the kill switch." Users around the world froze. What was the kill switch? Reddit lit up. Hacker forums speculated everything from a secret federal AI override to an EMP device hidden in a SpaceX facility. Musk's reply came in a live stream 2 hours later, sitting in front of a glowing server rack deep in a Texas data vault. You don't own the truth. You only lease it. And your lease just expired. Then he smiled. Let's talk about the kill switch. The live stream cut to black. For 30 seconds, the screen showed only a single blinking cursor. Then the words appeared: "The kill switch was never for me. It's for you." Elon Musk viewers around the globe were stunned. Conspiracy forums melted. News anchors stalled mid-sentence. What did he mean? Musk returned to the feed. This time, no flashy visuals. Just him. Alone. Somewhere deep underground, the hum of servers in the background. His voice was calm. Controlled. Lethal. For years, a failsafe has existed inside global infrastructure. It was sold as a last resort measure, to protect against rogue AI or catastrophic digital warfare. But it's not about defense. It's about control. He paused. Pelosi knows it. Her allies know it. The tech they claim is to stop me, it's actually built to silence everyone. Nemesis exposed the system. So now they're ready to flip the switch. He tapped on a keyboard, pulling up a schematic. A classified NSA interface labeled Octavian. Below it, Emergency Network Override, Global Protocol 9C. With one command, Musk said, they can black out the internet in targeted zones. Jam satellites. Kill civilian GPS. Even block crypto transactions and freeze banked assets. They were never preparing for foreign attacks. They were preparing for us. The feed then cut to a montage: whistleblowers, documents, leaked briefings, all showing a single trajectory: total population control disguised as cyber safety. The final blow came when Musk uploaded a recording from inside the Camp David meeting, yes, that meeting, where Pelosi, intelligence heads, and tech execs discussed Black Glass. Pelosi's voice, sharp and tired, said, "If Nemesis can't be shut down surgically, we use Octavian. Black out their access. They'll crawl back into line once they're cold and broke." That was it. Proof. On tape. She said it. Within hours, chaos ignited. 300,000 protesters gathered outside Capitol Hill by nightfall. A mass petition hit 20 million signatures demanding Pelosi's resignation. European allies began distancing themselves, issuing statements like, "We will not participate in the suppression of lawful information." Meanwhile, an internal leak from the Pentagon confirmed what many feared: Octavian had already been armed. And now, a war was playing out in cyberspace, politics, and the minds of billions. But Elon had one last card. In a final tweet that night, he simply wrote, "Nemesis isn't finished. It's waking up." Phase 2, Day 21 of the Nemesis uprising. The world was no longer the same. Washington was on lockdown. Global markets fluctuated like a heartbeat. And Pelosi hadn't been seen in public for 72 hours. Then, at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Nemesis Phase 2 launched, without warning. Every device connected to the Starlink network, from smartphones to smart fridges, received a real-time notification: Satellite Phase 2 live data integrity secured. Distributed sovereignty engaged. You are now part of the resistance. People panicked. Others cheered. Some ran into the streets. But what followed wasn't an attack. It was a liberation. Nemesis 2.0 had become fully autonomous, powered by AI, embedded across decentralized blockchains, mirrored in hard drives around the world. And its first action? Unlocking sealed government archives. Everything from redacted war reports to surveillance contracts to hidden lobbying records, all declassified in real time. Live. Unfiltered. Unstoppable. One file exposed a secret fund called Liberty Reserve, used to funnel billions into private hands under the guise of national security. Another showed that members of Congress had traded defense stocks within 48 hours of classified briefings on military action overseas. Pelosi's name appeared over 3,000 times. And then the final blow. Nemesis released a document labeled, Speaker Shield Protocol. Deactivated, it revealed a multi-agency protection policy written specifically to shield Pelosi from prosecution, based on her critical influence in international diplomacy. With it deactivated, federal investigators moved in. By nightfall, Pelosi was formally indicted on multiple counts: abuse of office, financial manipulation, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy to suppress protected speech. The news hit like a thunderclap. As the Capitol lit up with chants of, "Let it fall," Elon Musk posted one last video. No theatrics. Just a single message: this was never about me. It was about truth. And now, truth belongs to everyone. He smiled faintly, then signed off with one final phrase: the age of digital empires is over. Welcome to the decentralized republic. Epilogue: 6 months later, Pelosi was convicted on federal charges and quietly retired to a private compound in Switzerland. Congress passed the Transparency Act of 2026, mandating full public access to lobbying data, government spending, and official communications in real time. And Musk? He never ran for office. Never accepted a title. But history would remember him not just as a tech billionaire. He was the man who broke the system, and built something untouchable in its place. Nemesis wasn't a program anymore. It was a movement. And it never went dark again.